No, I find if you're making a piece of art or something, which I've encountered many times, you're doing a piece of art and you don't really quite know why you're doing it yet until after you've done it, and then you look into it and you go, right, so that means that, and you have to work it out afterwards, and then it makes sense. Like a lot of the art I do doesn't make sense until it's out. That's why I have to get it out because I don't understand it until it's out of my body, sort of thing, and then I can really look at it and understand it. So sometimes you don't know why you're thinking something or why you think a certain way or what your understanding is until you've done something else in the real world to make it a reality. You're making that idea a physical, real thing that you can analyse. So maybe whoever was making that, like making a film or something, might not have known what they were making until after they made it.
Well, you're making a sketch, aren't you?
Do you get what I mean? Though?
Yeah.
You don't. Some things you do think about and you want to put it in and you put it in, but other things it's like.
Yeah, the evolution of ideas.
You know? So there's something inside that, like it's like that already.
Yeah.
Where you got it, I don't know. You could guess a million things, but none of them would have much grounding. So I think it really is just like people just know things instinctively. Like a baby just knows how to swim, no one's taught him. You just chuck it in the water and off he goes.
It's almost like the divine.
So I think everyone knows what to do.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has an idea of right from wrong.
Yeah.
Instantly when you just brought into existence. Like you get taught stuff from your parents, stuff like that, but that's adding on to the natural amount that's there. That's what I think. So people do just know.
Yeah, well, that it's like conscience, isn't it? Someone can do something wrong and then swear blind, no, I didn't do it. You know, just like they're doing, denying it and hoping that it'll just go away and closing their eyes and all the rest of it, you know. You're not there anymore because I closed my eyes. Which is our baby, he thinks, you know.
Exactly.
If you close your eyes as a baby, the baby thinks not only have you disappeared, but the baby will think that he's disappeared. Yeah? I mean, how immature have you got to be? Obviously, you grow and you learn through experience. And the types of experiences you have can have a powerful effect on you as a human being. You know, you've got some great storytellers out there. I think Stan Lee is a great storyteller, and I think the way he's, you know, I'd like to think he's a great person as well. He seems to be, you know, for an old guy, he's pretty sprightly, you know, and his myths, and it's like that's the new Star Wars, or that's the new Matrix or whatever. That's the new way of telling a story, and they're finally starting to get it. This new X-Men, it's like, yeah, you can see how they are relating responsibilities, you know, these ethical questions. Yeah, I'm not saying all of it is fabulous because there's violence in there. This is the superhero world, but what they're trying to resolve and get.
You can show violence in a film. It's not a bad thing.
Well, they're trying
it's
to.
Not like you glorify it every time.
No, but people
should be able to show things that aren't.
You're showing it to non-adults though. Everybody, you know, they call themselves 18, but they're still a bloody child mentally, and they're going to see that.
Children understand violence. If you go to school, people bully you. You have to. Violence is everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't protect them from everything.
No.
It's not about protection. It's about teaching them to deal with it. Because you're going to have to in later life.
With great power comes great responsibility.
It's building what's happening later, not just ignoring it and then dealing with it when you have to. It's not like just enjoy your childhood and then get on with your life later.
But unless like Peter Parker, because Peter Parker, alright, he'd already lost his parents, he was an orphan. But he then got someone who cared about him just as much, and it was still family, and he was lucky from that respect. But then through some actions that he didn't take, through an inaction, you know, not even an action, through not doing something, through something somebody had done to him. I mean, the Sam Raimi Spidey, you learn from that. I think in a very humane kind of way, the guy refuses to pay him, you know, or pay him the full money that he was expecting in the same way, you know. He conned him, basically. In the same way the system will kind of con us. You know, oh, didn't you read the small print? Or I've just invented this thing that doesn't exist. And basically, you don't want an argument, so off you go. So he accepted it, yeah? He accepted it. At that point, I suppose, he was honourable. for accepting it. Even though that guy was dishonourable, right? He remained dishonourable for doing that, and everybody would have seen him as being dishonourable. But the minute Peter Parker then turned his back on his duty, all right, that guy had done that shit, but nobody knows what would have happened had he stopped that guy. Maybe he'd have got a reward. Maybe he'd have got 10 grand, you know? But he decided to play tit for tat. And in that moment, he knew then what responsibility really meant, because you can just say the word responsibility, it doesn't mean jack shit to a teenager. But having lived through
that's the worst thing you can say.
The causality where he didn't do something, which then caused something else to happen, where he then suffered personal loss. So he was never selfish up till then. He was still a teenager. He was still a kid. Selfish. I'm doing this. I feel like doing this now. I don't want to do that. You know? And one of the things that we've tried to do, say, with education over the years is we want responsible adults. We don't want people to remain children. But we've realised, obviously, having awakened, that yeah, they do want society to be children, actually, because then they can rule over them just by being 16 in their mental state.
I don't think people give children enough credit as well. People seem to think kids can't handle very much. But they well can. Like, kids are phenomenal.
My children amaze me. They really do. They're full of love. And I learn everything from my children. It's like, once you become a parent, you become a better human being. And I would never rub anything in anybody's face. But there's always hope for everybody. And the world just shouldn't be like this. It should just be full of caring and love. That's all there's really time for. There's not enough time for that. There's not enough time for my kids to be kids. I just want to be around them all the freaking time. You know, my youngest is 2. And I realise, because my others are getting older, and how fast they get older. You know, I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old and then a big kid who's 20. And it's like, I love them all. And I can't separate my love and say, I love you greater. I could not imagine my life any other way. And the same with my friends. And in the same way, I couldn't imagine, people like the royal family, or even Cameron himself, or that. I don't wish them no badness. Do you know why? Because it's like, to me, that's like wishing badness on me. Because I know there's going to be a ripple effect. And it's a stupid way of thinking. And they're not going to learn from me or respect me for having said that.
Well, if you've got a conscience, you're paying for harming someone. If you harm someone, it's in there.
Well, I know they should be doing all of that. They should be doing all of that.
They've had that.
And I know they're starting to feel guilty for what they're doing.
It's trauma. They've felt guilty for a long time. And that's how they've got to this stage. If you feel guilty your whole life, your brain just goes, fuck this, I give up. And you stop feeling that guilt.
It's hard to discuss it, you know. It's hard to discuss it.
You're not doing anything about your guilt. You're not changing your behaviour. So your brain just goes, well, there's no point in having this emotion, because it's not changing anything. So I'm just going to feel like crap forever, and there's no point in that, it's not good for my life.
Yeah.
So it adapts to become this psychotic human being
or alien
that is capable of doing that job that it's doing.